ambition is to build a fair and equitable society and close the gap between the rich and the poor. I'm not gonna quote him verbatim, but he also did say that everyone that works hard will benefit, but he knows that because we don't have, I mean, we're not equal. Some will benefit more than others. You know, I'm just paraphrasing. What you have seen so far, and at least towards the end of 2023, and his speech, does it look like there is a breach of the gap between the rich and the poor, or is it being widening by the day?
Well, what I say is that there will be a continuation of the rots. Even the broadcast he made, you could have removed his face and put the face of Buhari there, or the face of maybe even of Jonathan, as far back as Jonathan. No change, lackluster, lack of participation. It was just like telling them what they have to hear. And the last speaker was making errors. What we have here are not leaders. What we have, what Tinubu is a ruler. And I want us to understand the difference. It's very simple, but very subtle, but it's very serious. A leader leads with the people go along with you. But a ruler talks down to you. You must do what it has said because he has a force of power to implement it. So these are rulers. And you can see with even the motorcade. Now, why I say that there is no difference is this. And all he was saying was just so that something has to be said. He mentioned about bridging the gap. What gap? Look at the budget. It's still the continuation of the same. In this budget, number one item was, the major sum of the budget was requested for the Ministry of Defense. The next was the Ministry of Police Affairs. I mean, this is how these funds keeps on getting fleeted out, stolen. Because at the end of the day, look at the logistics of the military. Look at the logistics of the police. You go to every police station, they'll say they don't have fuel to even come and respond to you. In Imo State now, the police actually ask you for money. And then when I say money, I'm talking about 50, 60,000 or more before they can respond to a distress call. So when you look at the budget, this is still the same thing. And it's the same thing. The worrisome part of it is this. The errors of the past, there was nothing to checkmate it. No new systems in place. And you're just throwing the same monies down the same abyss. So I don't see any effort at bridging the gap. Rather, I see efforts at even concretizing the gap, making it wider. Look at the budget for the House of Assembly or the National Assembly. They've never been this brazen in lumping stuff for themselves. They used to think, okay, what will my constituents say? But now they don't give a damn. And because there is no consequences for misrule, if you can easily rig elections and get into power. And several things he said was just like he wanted to say something so that people will say, okay, I've made a broadcast. He said he will try to abide by the Constitution. What Constitution is he talking about? Look at his interventions in Rivers State. 25 members of the House of Assembly resigned from the party that they serve, and by virtue of that resignation, they have lost out. They have lost their seats in the House. And what do you do? What he actually, yes, 1091G. What Mr. Tinubu did in that instance was a coup. Because what is a coup? A coup is when you attain power or you try to attain power by means other than constitutional means. Now he issues out a presidential proclamation to solve that crisis, which was basically a coup, threatening the governor that if you don't accept these people back, there is no provision in the Constitution for accepting those characters back. So when you look at everything, you just know that Nigerians have to guide their loins. 2024 will be more hectic because we're now up against a ruler who doesn't give a damn about the Constitution, and we have to be ready for what he has to throw.
Okay, Barrister. The Senate leader,
yes,
Mr. Bamidele Okoyemi, made mention of the government being aware of the negative effect of fuel subsidy removal on Nigerians. What was the need to remove fuel subsidy when it has further crippled the economy and made life unbearable for Nigerians?
Well, just to tell you that, okay, I'm in power and you can't do nothing about it. That's why I said we have to call him the ruler. He's a ruler. I mean, maybe an emperor or whatever, not a leader. Because that action was to damn Nigerians, to damn the consequences. And let me assure Nigerians, we've had fuel subsidy removals for decades. And that was purported to be the last. No, it's not going to be the last. Before the end of this regime, having seen that they got away with the haste, they will try another one. And they're already telling us that they're subsidizing fuel from 185 to almost 600, and you are talking of subsidy? So, I mean, they know that they are now in control. They are in charge. So it's like until Nigerians tell them, okay, you guys, yes, you may have the power, but you're not in charge. That's when they'll begin to have a rethink. Otherwise, more of the same.
Okay, Barrister, I was going to ask you a very quick question.
Yeah.
The president in his speech this morning said, I'm trying to paraphrase, I beg your pardon,
Yeah.
his words. He said, setting parameters for evaluation for ministers under his administration is key. And at the same time, they are presently setting that parameters. Now, you said in your words now, they're not leaders.
They're rulers. Yeah, certainly.
So if there is some level of accountability being set up by this government, what do you really believe that this statement is going to be followed verbatim, and there would be some level of checkmating even on ministers, because it's not just the president now?
No, even that committee said instead of what the rules. You ask yourself, who is heading that committee? It is the former chairman of the Nigerian Ports Authority. And who is this here? This is a girl. She's a stooge of El Rufai. She was brought in from nowhere by El Rufai. So you see that, and then what was her record in the Nigerian Ports Authority? Abysmal. I mean, it was riddled with fraud and corruption. So that is the lady who's going to set up the parameters to evaluate who, for goodness sake. You see, we think these people are coming from the moon. They don't. That is the reason why you should always check the antecedents of anybody who's been brought into public office. Mr. President made an unelected official, an unaccountable official, to be the person above ministers. In our constitution, ministers are known and they report to the president. But in another coup, unconstitutional act, Mr. President said all the ministers have to report to this person who is unknown to the National Assembly. The danger is this. This lady cannot actually be called by the National Assembly because she is not known to the Constitution. The National Assembly can summon ministers, can summon the president. But this amorphous character who heads an entity that all ministers have to report to, and we've seen her track record. Her track record, she was part of the Bring Back Our Girls. That's how she shot to limelight. And then everything was a scam about her.
Is that constitutionally right?
It is wrong. That's what I'm saying. Mr. President, Bola Tinubu knows he got there by a below way, and he doesn't give a damn. So he's doing what he wants to do. If you don't like it, do what you can do.